He couldn't recognize her face. Not when they met. Not when they married. Not even after years together. She survived an explosion that destroyed her city. He lived in a world where every face, even the ones he loved, was a stranger. Their marriage wasn't about love. It was a contract. 2 years, immigration papers, survival. But when the government asked him to describe his wife, the man who couldn't recognize faces proved he knew her better than anyone on earth. This is the story of a woman who needed a visa and a man who learned to love without sight. August 4th, 2020, Beirut explodes. Layla Khouri's hands are bleeding. She's trapped under a collapsed beam in her studio, and all she can see through the broken window is her city burning. The port explosion has just rewritten her entire life in 3 seconds. 4 hours later, rescue workers pull her from the rubble. Her body will heal. Her mind won't forget. 6 months after that, she's in a Montreal immigration office, signing papers she doesn't fully understand. Her sister Rima's face flashes in her mind. 12 years old, hungry, waiting for Layla to save their family from debt. The lawyer slides the contract across the table. 2 years, architectural fellowship, permanent residency at the end if she can prove the marriage is real. Layla signs. The pen feels heavier than the beam that pinned her. 3 days later, Montreal in February. Snow and cold and buildings that don't explode. The Beaumont Heritage Foundation office sits in Old Montreal, stone walls thick enough to survive anything. Madame Beaumont is waiting. 60s, elegant, direct. My son needs help. You need immigration status, but you need to understand what you're agreeing to. She slides a photo across. A man, early 30s, dark hair, eyes that look past the camera. Étienne has prosopagnosia, face blindness. He cannot recognize faces, not mine, not his father's, not yours. Layla stares at the photo. 4 women have tried to be his partner, professional arrangements like yours, all left within 6 months because they couldn't bear being invisible to him. I've been invisible my whole life, Layla says quietly. At least this time I'm getting paid for it. Madame's eyebrow raises. You're more pragmatic than the others. Good. She stands. He's in the workshop, 3rd floor. Try not to expect warmth. The workshop is a cathedral of architecture. Models everywhere, blueprints on every wall. In the center, a man bent over a drafting table, headphones on, completely absorbed. Layla clears her throat. Nothing. She steps closer, clears it again. He looks up, removes one headphone, studies her face for 3 long seconds like he's trying to photograph it with his mind, then gives up. Yes? I'm Layla Khouri. You're... She stops. What is she? The fellowship. Right. He sets down his pencil. Welcome. Your workstation is there. Points to a desk, by the window. She waits for more. Nothing comes. And you are? He blinks. Étienne Beaumont. We're getting married in 3 weeks. I know that part. I was hoping for something more than a workstation assignment. Something flickers across his face. Embarrassment, maybe recognition of his own rudeness. I'm sorry, that was... He stands, extends his hand. I'm not good at this. At shaking hands? At people. He almost smiles. But I'm excellent at architecture, so maybe we start there. She takes his hand. His grip is firm, certain. Okay. Architecture. I'll need your preliminary designs for the Saint Laurent project by Friday. The brief is on your desk. Do you have questions? Yes. Do you always interview yourself to strangers? He tilts his head, listening to her voice like it contains information her face doesn't. I don't understand. You introduced yourself. I introduced myself. Then 30 seconds later, you introduced yourself again. His jaw tightens. I have prosopagnosia. I know. Your mother explained. I'm asking how many times a day you'll meet me for the first time. The question seems to surprise him. Most people don't ask. They just leave. Probably 5 or 6 times. Maybe more if we're moving between rooms or if you change clothes. That must be exhausting. It's my normal. He studies the space where her face should be, sees nothing useful. Is it too much for you already? Most people can't handle it past the first day. Layla thinks about being pulled from rubble, about signing away 2 years of her life, about Rima's voice on the phone asking if she was safe. I've handled worse. Something in his posture shifts, not quite relaxation, but less defense. The explosion. My mother mentioned you were there. I don't want to talk about it. Okay. And just like that, he lets it go, returns to his drafting table. Your desk has everything you need. I work better in silence, so I'll have headphones on most of the time. If you need something, just... He stops. Just say my name. I won't know it's you otherwise. Étienne. He looks up. I'll try to remember that. That night, she finds a book on her desk in the empty apartment they're supposed to share. Architecture of Memory. How Buildings Hold Our Stories. No note. But she knows. City Hall, 3 weeks later. Marriage license. They sit waiting. Étienne's knee bouncing. First sign of nervousness she's seen. You okay? I hate these places. Everyone expects eye contact, recognition. I'm always failing some invisible test. She reaches over, stills his knee with her hand. Look at me. He does, sees nothing. You're not failing. You're just different. Different isn't usually an advantage. Depends who's defining it. They sign. Married now, according to Canada. Feels both monumental and meaningless. Walking out into February cold, Étienne surprises her. Would you want to get dinner? Not as anything. Just as two people who should probably know something about each other beyond architectural philosophy. You're asking me on a not date? I'm asking if we can try being less than strangers. Dinner's good. Small Lebanese restaurant in Côte de Neige. The owner takes one look at Layla, hears her accent, and seats them in the back corner without asking. Brings tea that tastes like home. Étienne looks around with an intensity that has nothing to do with sight. The acoustics in here are intentional. Notice how the sound doesn't echo? The architect understood that conversation is the point, not the food. You experience buildings differently. I experience everything differently. I navigate by sound, texture, spatial memory. A room has a feeling, an acoustic signature. People have rhythms, the way they move through space, their gait patterns, their breathing. Do I have a rhythm? He tilts his head, listening. Your footsteps are asymmetric. You favor your right leg. Old injury? Fractured ankle when I was 15, playing football with my brothers. You hum when you're concentrating. Same melody every time, but you don't seem to know you're doing it. Layla's chest tightens. A lullaby my mother sang. And your breathing changes when you're nervous. Gets shallow, quick, like right now. You notice all that? I notice everything except faces. He tries to meet her eyes, fails, settles for the general direction of her voice. Do you know what that's like? To look at someone you love and see a stranger every single time? No. But I know what it's like to be a stranger to people who should love you. Your family? After the explosion, People looked at me like I was broken. Trauma victim, problem to solve. Easier to be a stranger somewhere that expects it. She wraps both hands around her tea. Why did you agree to this? The contract marriage. You didn't need me specifically. I need help. The foundation, the projects. I can't manage the public-facing parts alone. I can't recognize donors, can't remember who I've met, can't navigate the social requirements of this work. 4 other women tried. All of them left because being forgotten is unbearable, apparently. And you think I'll stay because I'm desperate enough? I think you'll stay because you understand transactions. This is honest. 2 years, clear terms, mutual benefit. No pretending it's something it's not. What if it becomes something it's not? He's quiet for a long moment. Then we deal with that when it happens. They talk until the owner starts stacking chairs. He tells her about learning he was different at 8 years old, couldn't pick his mother out of a crowd at school pickup. She tells him about Beirut before the explosion, the chaos, the beauty, the way jasmine and diesel fumes mixed into something that meant home. I miss the noise, she admits. Montreal is so quiet. Close your eyes. What? Trust me. She does. Suddenly the restaurant comes alive. Clinking dishes, conversations in Arabic from the kitchen, the owner's footsteps moving between tables, the old refrigerator humming, the tea kettle whistling low. It's not quiet, Étienne says softly. You're just listening for different things. Every place has music. You have to learn its frequency. She opens her eyes and finds him almost smiling. Teach me. That might take longer than 2 years. Good thing we're married then. They walk home through snow, and for the first time since the explosion, Layla feels something other than numb. The first month is careful negotiation. They work in the same space, eat meals at different times, speak only about projects. Layla learns his patterns, arrives at 7, coffee, black, no sugar, works in silence until noon, then puts on music, always instrumental, always the same album on repeat. She tests things, comes to work one morning in completely different clothes, new hairstyle, her mother's perfume instead of her usual, stands directly in front of him. Good morning. He glances up. Good morning. No recognition at all. It's Layla. Embarrassment crosses his face. Of course, I'm sorry. Don't be, I was testing something. She sits on the edge of his desk. How do you tell people apart, at all? Voice mostly. Everyone sounds different. Pitch, rhythm, the specific words they choose. Gait patterns, scent, the way someone moves through space, the sound their clothes make. Context helps. If you're in this office, you're probably you. Probably. 98% sure. And the other 2%? I'm catastrophically wrong and deeply embarrassed. He sets down his pencil. Is this going to be a problem? Because I need to know now, not 6 months from now when you can't take it anymore. I'm not them, the other 4. How do I know that? Because I'm still here, because I'm asking questions instead of running away. She slides off his desk. I don't need you to recognize me, Étienne. I just need you to know me. There's a difference. Something in his expression softens. I can do that, knowing you. Good, because I'm starting to think I'd like to know you too. Their work evolves. The Saint Laurent project, converting an old textile factory into housing. The initial plans feel lifeless, purely functional. Late one night, blueprints covering every surface, Layla throws out an idea. What if we design for memory instead of just function? Étienne looks up from his drafting table. Explain. You navigate buildings by acoustic signature, texture, spatial memory. What if we built that in intentionally, so everyone could find their way by feel and sound, not just sight? His eyes light up with something she hasn't seen before. Pure excitement. Sensory architecture. Different materials in different areas, varied acoustics, tactile, navigation. People could find their apartment by the sound of their hallway, the texture of their door. Revolutionary for people with dementia, cognitive differences, vision impairment. He's already sketching. Varied flooring, tile to wood to carpet, each with distinct acoustic properties, textured wall panels, scent gardens on each floor. They work until 3 in the morning. Around midnight, their hands brush, reaching for the same pencil. Neither pulls away immediately. The touch lingers, then breaks. This is good work, Étienne says quietly. Our work. Yeah, it is. Later, she finds a small box on her pillow. Inside, a delicate gold necklace with a tiny architectural compass pendant. The note says, "For finding your way in new places." She puts it on, doesn't take it off. Month 2 brings the board presentation. Madame Beaumont has gathered donors, city officials, potential clients. Layla's nervous. This is what determines everything. Étienne presents the technical specifications with passion and precision. Describes how buildings can hold memory in their structure. How architecture should serve all types of perception, not privileged sight above everything else. The room is captivated until the questions start. A donor stands. "Mr. Beaumont, this is fascinating. We met last month at the gala, and I have to say..." Étienne looks directly at him with zero recognition. The man's face tightens, offended. Another donor tries. "Étienne, we discussed funding parameters at dinner." "I'm sorry," Étienne interrupts. "I need you to identify yourself verbally. I have prosopagnosia. I can't recognize faces." Uncomfortable silence. The first donor's offense turns to confusion, then something worse. Pity. Layla steps in smoothly. "Mr. Chen, as you mentioned in our previous meeting, your mother has Alzheimer's. This design would allow her to navigate her building using the same tactile and auditory cues she's developed over her lifetime. She could find her way home even when memory fails her." Mr. Chen sits down slowly. "Yes, exactly that." Another donor. "And for my father's nursing home. The acoustic signatures would be distinct enough that residents could orient themselves without relying on visual markers that become meaningless as vision fails." Layla continues. "Independence, dignity, agency." Under the table, Étienne's hand finds hers, squeezes once. "Thank you. Project approved. Funding secured." Outside, Layla finally breathes. "We did it. You did it. I was failing in there. We're a team. You have the vision. I have the..." She stops herself, but he finishes it. "The face recognition, the social skills, the ability to be normal." His voice is flat. "That's not what I meant. It's true, though. I need you to be the person I can't be. That's what this is." He starts walking toward the car. She catches up, grabs his arm. "Stop. Listen to me." Her voice cracks. "You see me more than anyone who's ever looked at my face. You know how I breathe, how I move, what I need before I ask. You remember my words, my ideas, the sound of my voice. Isn't that more real than recognizing a face you'd eventually stop noticing anyway?" Étienne stands still. Snow falls around them, muffling the city. The others said that too. At first. Then 6 months in, they'd realized they couldn't bear it. Always being forgotten. Always having to reintroduce themselves. They all left, Layla. Every single one. I'm not them. How do I know that? Because I'm still here. Because I chose this. She steps closer. Because being forgotten by everyone else my whole life felt worse than being unrecognized by you. The words hang in frozen air between them. Slowly, carefully, Étienne's hand comes up and touches her face. His fingers trace her cheekbone, her jaw, the bridge of her nose like he's reading Braille. What are you doing? Trying to see you the only way I can. His thumb brushes across her bottom lip. Your face is a mystery to me. But this, your warmth, the way you lean toward me right now, your pulse under my fingertips, this I know. This I could find in a room of 1,000 people. Étienne. He kisses her, careful at first, questioning. Layla answers by pulling him closer, and the kiss deepens into something desperate. Something that tastes like loneliness and recognition and the specific relief of being found. They break apart, breathing hard, foreheads pressed together. This is a terrible idea, she whispers. The worst, he agrees. You're going to fall in love with me. I think I already am. She kisses him again, and this time there's no hesitation. This time it's a choice. They walk home holding hands through the snow. Neither of them mentions the contract or the 2-year limit or what happens when immigration is satisfied. They just walk, and for now, that's enough. That night changes the apartment. Not dramatically, they still keep separate rooms, but there are new rhythms. Good morning kisses that linger. His hand on her back as he passes her desk. Her humming while she works. And his small smile when he hears it. Small gifts appear. Her favorite tea in the cupboard. A book on Lebanese architecture. A playlist titled, For Concentration, with humming. She leaves her own marks. Post-it notes on his mirror reminding him of meetings. A scarf that smells like her perfume draped over his chair. She learns his coffee so precisely she can make it with her eyes closed. You're learning me, he says one morning, watching her prepare his coffee without asking how he takes it. You've been learning me since day one. I'm just catching up. The textile factory moves into construction. They're on site daily, and Layla watches Étienne navigate the chaos with absolute confidence. He knows where every beam should be, every wall, every panel. Knows the acoustics of the space so well he can tell when something's wrong just by listening. A new worker makes a mistake one afternoon, calls to Étienne across the site, gets no response. Calls again, louder. Nothing, storms over, aggressive. Hey, I'm talking to you, asshole! Étienne turns. Tries to place the voice, fails. I'm sorry. I don't know. He has prosopagnosia, Layla interrupts, stepping between them. Face blindness. He can't recognize you. You need to identify yourself verbally, or he won't know who you are. The worker's anger deflates. Oh, shit, man, I didn't. Sorry. It's fine. Happens constantly. Étienne's voice is tired. What did you need? Later in the car, silence. Thank you, he finally says. But I hate needing rescue. It wasn't rescue. It was partnership. You'd do the same for me. Would I? I didn't even know he was upset until he was screaming in my face. You navigate sound and space better than anyone I've ever met. I navigate social cues and facial expressions. We're complementary, not broken. He looks in her general direction. You really believe that? I'm learning to. Month 4 brings the letter, Immigration Services, first interview in 3 weeks. They need to prove the marriage is genuine. Their lawyer prepares them over coffee in her office. Sharp woman, skeptical eyes. They'll ask intimate questions, Daily routines, personal details, how you met, why you married, what you know about each other. They're looking for inconsistencies, anything that suggests this is fraudulent. It's not fraudulent, Layla says. But it started as a contract. They know that. They'll push to see if it's become real or if you're just performing. That night, living room, wine, quizzing each other. What side of the bed do I sleep on? Layla asks. Left. You face the window. You talk in your sleep, always in Arabic. Most nights it's just fragments, but on August 4th every year, you wake up screaming. The specificity catches her off guard. You know that? I hear everything in this apartment, Layla. Every nightmare, every time you cry in the shower, every moment you think you're alone. His voice is gentle. I'm sorry I can't make it better. You do make it better. Being here, it's the first place I've felt safe since Beirut. She sets down her wine glass. My turn. What's your morning routine? Coffee at 7. Black. I stand at the window for exactly 5 minutes, listening to the city wake up, then work until you get up around 8. Your footsteps coming down the hall are my favorite sound of the day. Étienne. You wanted intimate details. That's as intimate as it gets. I organize my mornings around the sound of you existing nearby. The air between them feels charged. Layla shifts closer on the couch. When did this stop being pretend? I don't think it was ever fully pretend. We just called it that because it was safer. He finds her hand. But I'm tired of safe. I want real. A real is terrifying. Real is you. And somehow that's less terrifying than empty. She kisses him, and this time there's no hesitation. This time it's a claim, a choice, a step into something they can't take back. They kiss until breathing matters more than kissing. Come with me, she whispers. Not as roommates, as us. Whatever that means. The apartment grows quiet. They move through doorways, through choices, through the careful architecture of becoming something more than what they were. Étienne's hands shake slightly as he reaches for her. I can't see you, he says. It sounds like an apology. Good. She steps closer, closing the distance between them. Then know me the only way that matters. And he does. In the darkness, in the quiet, they close the distance that's existed since the day they met. Not through sight, but through presence. Through breath. Through the specific gravity of two people choosing each other completely. It's slow and careful and profound. Being known without being seen. Being chosen without hesitation. Afterward, tangled together, his hand tracing absent patterns on her skin, she feels something she hasn't since before the explosion. Whole. Not healed, but whole enough to keep building. I could find you anywhere now, Étienne murmurs against her shoulder. In a room of 1,000 people, in total darkness, by heartbeat alone. That's the most romantic thing anyone's ever said to me. It's true. That's better than romantic. She falls asleep to the rhythm of his breathing. No nightmares for the first time in months. The immigration interview comes on a Thursday morning. Officer Martineau is waiting. Sharp eyes, skeptical mouth, a file folder thick with their documentation. Please sit. She doesn't smile. Let's begin. How did you meet? Through the Beaumont Foundation Fellowship, Layla answers. I applied from Beirut after the port explosion destroyed my studio. The program offered professional development and immigration sponsorship. A convenient way into Canada. Yes, it was convenient. And Mr. Beaumont needed a wife for the fellowship requirements. I needed a partner for the foundation work. Étienne corrects. The fellowship was designed to be a spousal collaboration. Immigration status was part of the package. Officer Martineau makes a note. So this marriage is transactional. It started that way, Layla says carefully. But convenience and genuine connection aren't mutually exclusive. Tell me about your typical day together. They take turns describing their routines. Morning coffee, working side by side, lunch at their desks or the small cafe down the street, evening meals, the specific rhythms of cohabitation. Officer Martineau listens, takes notes, reveals nothing. Mrs. Beaumont, what does your husband look like? Layla describes him. Dark hair, tall, the specific angle of his jaw, the way he tilts his head when he's listening, his hands, always moving. Mr. Beaumont, describe your wife. Silence. Heavy, dangerous. Étienne's jaw tightens. I can't. Officer Martineau's eyebrow raises. You can't describe your own wife? No. I have prosopagnosia, face blindness. I don't know what she looks like. I've never known. The officer leans back in her chair, and Layla can see the conclusion forming. Sham marriage, fraud, deportation. So this marriage is a fraud. I know she has a scar on her left shoulder blade. Étienne's voice cuts through, calm and factual and devastating. 2 inches long, raised tissue, from where a beam fell during the Beirut explosion. She hates when I touch it, but I do anyway, because it's proof she survived something that should have killed her. Officer Martineau stops writing. I know she takes 3 sugars in her coffee, but tells people 2 because she thinks it sounds less childish. She sleeps on the left side facing the window. She talks in her sleep, always in Arabic, usually arguing with her brother Karim about something from childhood. On August 4th every year, she wakes up screaming and I stand outside the bathroom door while she cries in the shower, because some grief is too private even for me. Layla's eyes are burning. Her footsteps are asymmetric. She favors her right leg when she's tired. Old football injury, fractured ankle when she was 15. She hums when she's concentrating. Same lullaby every time, the one her mother sang. She doesn't know she does it. His hands are steady on the table, his voice quiet but unwavering. She rearranges rooms instinctively, improving flow and light without conscious thought. She argues in Arabic when she's angry, French when she's being diplomatic, English when she wants to be understood completely. I know the sound of her breathing, awake versus asleep, calm versus anxious, content versus aroused. The way she moves through space, the rhythm of her existence. He looks toward Officer Martineau without quite meeting her eyes. I know that when she's nervous, she touches the compass necklace I gave her. She's touching it right now. I know that when she's working on a difficult problem, she paces exactly 7 steps, turns, paces back. I know that she misses Beirut with an ache so deep she can't talk about it without her voice changing. Layla reaches for his hand under the table. He finds it immediately, like he always does. I could identify her in a crowd of 1,000 people with my eyes closed, by the sound of her walk, by her breathing, by the way she disrupts air when she enters a room. I know her in ways that have nothing to do with sight and everything to do with attention. He squeezes Layla's hand. So no, I can't tell you what color her eyes are, but I know her. I know when she's about to cry before the tears come. I know when she's pretending to be fine. I know the difference between her real laugh and her polite laugh. I know her. Silence fills the small office. If someone knew you this deeply, without ever seeing you, would that be enough? Officer Martineau turns to Layla. Why did you accept this arrangement? Layla finds her voice. Because I needed help. My family was drowning financially after the explosion, and I was the only one who could swim. Coming here was survival. She doesn't let go of Étienne's hand. But staying is choice. I'm staying because he sees me without seeing me. He knows me without needing to recognize me. He taught me that being known is more important than being remembered, and that recognition is meaningless if it's not paired with attention. Very poetic. It's true. We're not perfect. We started as a transaction, but we became real, and that's worth protecting. Officer Martineau closes her file, studies them both for a long moment. I'll make my recommendation within 2 weeks. You'll receive notification by mail. Outside, Layla's hands shake. What if she doesn't believe us? Then we fight. We prove it however many times we have to. Étienne pulls her close on the sidewalk, public and visible and real. I'm not losing you to paperwork. You really meant all that? About knowing me? Every word. He touches her face, traces the features he can't see. You're the first person I've ever truly known. How could I not fight for that? The letter comes 11 days later. Layla's at a construction site when her phone rings. Unknown number. Mrs. Beaumont? This is Immigration Services. Your application for permanent residency has been approved. Conditional status granted. Pending final review in 18 months. She has to sit down. Approved? Yes. Congratulations. You'll receive official documentation within the week. She calls Étienne immediately. Can't even speak when he answers, just cries. Layla, what happened? We passed. Approved, Her voice breaks. I'm staying. Silence on his end. Then, you were always staying. Now it's just official. That night they celebrate. Wine and Lebanese food from their restaurant. Dancing in the kitchen to music only they can hear. Étienne spins her and she's laughing. Actually laughing. And it hits her that this is home now. Not Beirut. Not even Montreal. The space between his heartbeat and hers. 18 more months, she says against his chest. And then you're free. She pulls back to look at him, even though he can't see her expression. I was always free. I chose you. I'm choosing you every day. Choose me tomorrow, too. And the day after. And the day after that. They spend that night together with a different quality. Not desperate or careful, but certain. The certainty of two people who've stopped pretending this is temporary. Month 7 brings trouble. Layla's phone rings at 3 a.m., Rima, voice shaking. Baba's sick, lung infection. The doctors say it's from the port explosion, all that chemical dust. He needs treatment, surgery. Layla, we can't afford it. Layla sits up, wide awake. How much? 20,000 US dollars. Her stomach drops. I'll figure something out. Beside her, Étienne stirs. What's wrong? My father. He's sick, needs surgery. She's already doing math in her head. Their accounts, the business expenses, the projects in progress. I need to take out a loan against the firm. Wait. Let me check the numbers first. We might be able to... There's no time to check numbers. He needs surgery next week. Layla, we're leveraged to our limit on the factory project. Taking out more debt could collapse everything we've built. It's my father. I understand. But we need to think strategically. Think strategically? Her voice rises. My father is dying, and you want to think strategically. That's not what I... Do you understand what it's like to have family depending on you? To be their only hope? She's out of bed, pacing. I came here to save them. That was the entire point. And now I can't even... Give me time. Let me look at options. There has to be another way. How much time? A week? 2? While my father can't breathe? A few days, just to see what's possible. But she doesn't have days. That night, desperate and angry and terrified, Layla makes a call she knows she shouldn't. Richard Chen, the developer they'd turned down 3 months ago. He'd wanted to use their accessible design philosophy for luxury condos that would displace low-income families. They'd refused on principle. Mr. Chen? It's Layla Khoury, from Beaumont Khoury Architecture. Mrs. Beaumont, this is unexpected. I need work, contract consultation work. Just me, not the firm. Silence. Then, what changed? Family emergency. I need money fast. I can pay $30,000 for design consultation, 3 months. But given your partner's previous objections, I assume this arrangement stays between us. Layla closes her eyes, sees her father's face, Rima's terrified voice. Yes, just between us. Excellent. I'll send contracts tomorrow. She starts working double, the firm during the day, Chen's project at night and on weekends, hiding it, telling herself it's temporary, necessary, survival. The same justifications that brought her to Montreal in the first place. But Étienne notices. Of course he does. 2 weeks in, he's waiting when she comes home at midnight. You're working somewhere else. She freezes. What? Your footsteps when you come home. They're heavier, slower, like you're carrying something. He stands from the couch. And you smell different. New building materials. Not from our sites. We have a lot of projects right now. You're lying. His voice is flat. You're breathing when you lie. It gets shallow. Quick. You stop humming. You've stopped humming for 2 weeks. Don't. He moves closer. I can't see your face, Layla, but I can hear deception. I've been hearing it for weeks. Whatever you're hiding, just tell me. The words burst out. I'm working for Richard Chen, the displacement project. You said we couldn't afford to help my father, and I didn't have a choice. Étienne goes completely still. You're consulting on the project we refused, the one that uses our methodology to displace vulnerable families. It's just consultation. You're enabling it. You're helping him use our accessible design principles to build luxury housing that will force out the exact people we're trying to serve. His voice is rising. Do you understand what you've done? Our entire reputation is built on ethical, accessible architecture. If this gets out, my father is dying. The words echo in the apartment. What was I supposed to do? Let him die because we have principles? You were supposed to trust me. We could have found another way. Taken a different loan, delayed other projects, asked investors. Your investors, your firm, your reputation. Bitterness floods her voice. I'm just the contract wife who brings diversity points and a compelling refugee story. The words land like a physical blow. Étienne's face goes white. Is that what you think? After everything? I don't know what I think anymore. She's crying now, angry and terrified. I came here to save my family, and instead I'm playing house with a man who can't even recognize my face. The silence that follows is devastating. Étienne's voice, when it comes, is barely above a whisper. Get out. Étienne, I said get out. His hands are shaking. Go to the guest room. Go anywhere. I can't. He grips the edge of the table. I can't listen to you right now without hearing that. Can't even recognize my face. Like that's all I am. A defect. A limitation. Like everything I know about you is meaningless because I can't pass the one test that matters. That's not what I meant. Yes, it was. In anger, we tell the truth. He turns away. Just go. Layla goes, packs a bag with shaking hands, tears blurring her vision. She hears something crash in the bedroom, the sound of someone breaking in private. She books a hotel room, sends the money to Rima, stares at the ceiling and wonders how she destroyed the best thing in her life in a single conversation. 3 days pass. The office is a war zone. They communicate through email only. Professional, cold, surgically precise, divided responsibilities, separated site visits. Layla sees him across the factory floor once. He's talking to a contractor, and even from a distance she can see how tired he looks, how diminished. She did that. Day 4. Madame Beaumont corners her in the parking lot. What happened? We had a fight. About? Does it matter? It's over. Madame studies her with those sharp eyes. When Étienne was 8, he got lost at a shopping center. Couldn't recognize me in the crowd. Had a panic attack so severe they called an ambulance. Didn't speak for 3 days. She pauses. He was terrified of needing people after that. Because needing meant depending on recognition he couldn't give or receive. So he built walls. Convinced himself he was better off alone. I know. Do you? Do you know you're the first person he's let past those walls in 10 years? That he reorganized his entire life around you? That he taught himself to cook Lebanese food by watching YouTube videos in Arabic because he wanted to surprise you on your birthday? Layla's chest tightens. Her birthday is next week. She didn't think he knew. He loves you. The way he loves is different, but it's real. And you broke him. Madame's voice softens slightly. But he broke you too. So fix each other. That's what marriage is. I don't know how. Start with the truth. All of it. Day 6, the factory site, late afternoon. Layla's reviewing acoustic panels when she hears shouting, running. Call an ambulance! She runs toward the sound, finds a crowd, and in the center, Étienne, on the ground, blood streaming from his head, face gray. What happened? She drops beside him, hands hovering, afraid to touch. Fell from the scaffolding, lost his bearings, couldn't find the edge. Étienne's eyes are open but unfocused, panicked. Layla? His hand reaches out, searching blindly. I'm here. She grabs his hand. Right here. Can't. Everything sounds wrong. Can't orient, can't find. His breathing is too fast, shallow. Don't move. Ambulance is coming. She's crying. You're okay. You're going to be okay. Scared. Can't find you. Can't. I'm holding your hand. Feel me. She brings his hand to her face, lets him trace her features. Feel me. I'm here. His breathing steadies slightly. There you are. The ambulance arrives. They won't let her ride. Not family, not spouse who's currently separated. She screams, I'm his wife! Until they relent. Emergency room. Waiting for X-rays, CT scans. Étienne holds her hand like it's the only thing tethering him to earth. I'm sorry, he says, voice rough. About the money. About not finding a way to help your father. We should have. I'm sorry I took the job. I'm sorry I said. Her voice breaks completely. I didn't mean it. About you not recognizing me. You know me better than anyone. You see me in ways no one else can. I was proud, stubborn. You needed help and I made it about business principles instead of partnership. I was scared. I went behind your back instead of trusting you to find a solution together. They're both crying now. In a sterile hospital room, under fluorescent lights that make everything too bright and real. Don't leave, Étienne says. When you get permanent residency. When the 18 months are up. Don't leave. I'm not going anywhere. Even when you're being impossible. Even when I'm being a coward, I'm staying. Promise me. I promise. We build together or we don't build. At all. The doctor comes in. Concussion, 3 stitches, needs observation overnight. They move him to a room. Layla climbs into the narrow hospital bed despite the nurse's protests. Tell me about Beirut, he says quietly. The good parts, before. She does. Tells him about jasmine nights and rooftop parties. Traffic that sounds like a symphony if you know how to listen. Her father's bookshop filled with old paper and cardamom coffee. Her mother teaching her to cook. Karim and Rima fighting over the last piece of nafe. It sounds beautiful. It was. It will be again. Beirut survives. It always survives. She kisses his forehead carefully, avoiding the bandage. Like us. Like us. He falls asleep, holding her hand. Home the next day. Étienne moves carefully, still dizzy, still in pain. Layla hovers until he laughs and pulls her down onto the couch beside him. I'm okay. Stop fussing. I'm allowed to fuss. You scared me. I scared myself. He leans back, closes his eyes. We need to talk about the firm. And Chen. Layla stiffens. I already quit that project. Sent the money back. What? But your father... I called Rima, told her the truth, that I made a mistake, that I couldn't keep the money. We'll figure out another way. She takes his hand. You were right. That project goes against everything we believe, everything we built together. I'm sorry. I'm making you a full partner. He opens his eyes, turns toward her voice. 50-50 ownership. Equal say in all decisions, especially financial ones. If you need to send money to your family, we decide together. It's our money, not mine. Étienne. This marriage started as a contract, but it's not anymore. The business needs to reflect that. You're not my employee or my sponsored immigrant. You're my partner. In everything. What if I make decisions you disagree with? Then we argue like partners do. But you don't hide things and I don't pull rank. He finds her hand, laces their fingers together. Equal in all of this. Equal. Something in her chest settles into place. I can work with equal. Good. Because I already had the lawyers draw up the papers. She laughs. You were that sure I'd come back? No. I was that sure I'd do anything to make you stay. They restructure the firm over the next week. Beaumont Coury Accessible Architecture. Both names, both visions, both voices equal. And it works. They find another way to help Layla's father. A smaller loan, a payment plan with the hospital, contributions from extended family they didn't know could help. It takes longer, requires more coordination, but her father gets his surgery. We did it together, Étienne says when Rima calls with the news that the surgery was successful. Yeah, we did. The projects multiply. A school for children with sensory processing disorders. A community center where every room has distinct acoustic and tactile signatures. A hospice, where dementia patients can navigate independently using memory embedded in the architecture itself. Awards come. Architectural Digest features them. Conference invitations arrive from around the world. But the real success is quieter. Sunday mornings in bed, Étienne's hands learning her body while she describes the quality of light through the window. Arguments about design that end in laughter. The specific comfort of being completely known. 18 months after the first interview, they return to Immigration Services for the final review. This time it's different. Officer Martineau barely asks questions. Their life is documented, public, undeniable. Joint bank accounts, shared projects, a business partnership that's transformed accessible architecture internationally. Everything appears to be in order. She closes the file. Permanent residency approved. Congratulations, Mrs. Beaumont. Outside, Étienne exhales like he's been holding his breath for 18 months. You're free now. Officially. I was always free. Layla stops on the steps, turns to face him. I chose to stay. I'm choosing to stay. Choose it again tomorrow. And the day after. And every day after that. They celebrate that night. Wine and Lebanese food and dancing in the kitchen to music only they can hear. Étienne spins her laughing, and she realizes this is what home feels like. Not a place. Not even a person. The space created between two people who chose each other despite every reason not to. 2 years after they met, Layla wakes to find Étienne already awake, listening to her breathe in the pre-dawn quiet. Morning. I've been thinking. Dangerous. The contract is over. Immigration is satisfied. You have permanent residency. He traces her face with his fingers, mapping features he'll never recognize. You could leave, build your own firm, live anywhere. Her chest tightens. Is that what you want? No, but I want you to know you can, that you're not trapped here by paperwork or obligation. He takes a breath. I want you to choose this. Choose me. Not because you have to, but because you want to. Étienne. She takes his hand, presses it to her heart. I chose you the night you kissed me in the snow. I chose you when I moved my things out of the guest room. I chose you in the hospital. I choose you every single morning when I wake up. I'm going to keep falling in love with you every day, more than the day before. Good, because I'm already there. Have been for months. She kisses him. I'm not going anywhere. This is home. You're home. He pulls her close, buries his face in her neck. She feels wetness on her skin and realizes he's crying. We're real, she whispers. We're so real. As the sun rises, they rebuild what broke between them. Not with words this time, but with the slow certainty of two people who've already lost each other once and refuse to do it again. Afterward, she stays close, listening to his heartbeat steady beneath her ear. Étienne's hand traces absent patterns along her shoulder, and Layla thinks about the woman who arrived in Montreal 2 years ago. Desperate, broken, terrified. That woman made a deal with a stranger and somehow found herself. Found home in a man who couldn't see her face but knew her soul. Found purpose in building spaces that welcomed everyone. Found peace in the rhythm of a life constructed day by day, choice by choice, touch by touch. The explosion took her city, but in a strange way, it gave her this. A husband who hears her, a partnership that matters, a future that feels possible. Sometimes survival looks like escape, and sometimes it looks like staying, like building something new on shattered ground, like letting someone know you so completely that sight becomes irrelevant. 3 years in, they stand together at the opening of their largest project yet. An entire residential complex designed around sensory navigation. Elderly residents with dementia move confidently through halls they navigate by texture and sound. Children with autism find calm in rooms acoustically designed to reduce overwhelming stimuli. Blind residents orient themselves using tactile pathways and acoustic landmarks. An elderly woman approaches them, tears in her eyes. My husband has Alzheimer's. This morning he found his way to breakfast alone. First time in 2 years. She takes both their hands. You gave him his dignity back. After she leaves, Layla leans against Étienne. We did something real. We always do, when we work together. He finds her hand without looking. Everything I build with you works better. That night, back in their apartment, Layla finds Étienne on the balcony, listening to the city. "What are you thinking about?" "The 4 women who left. The ones who couldn't handle being unrecognized." He pulls her close. "I used to think they were right, that I was asking too much, that no one could really love someone who couldn't remember their face. And now? Now I think they were looking for the wrong kind of recognition." He turns her to face him, touches her face like he does every night, reading her features through his fingertips. "You taught me that being known is different from being remembered. That attention is more valuable than memory. That love isn't about recognition. It's about choice." "We both learned that." "Yeah, we did." They stand together as the city hums below them. 2 people who married for all the wrong reasons and stayed for all the right ones. Who proved that love doesn't require sight, only attention. That home isn't a place you're born, but a person whose heartbeat you'd recognize anywhere. Proving every single day that the greatest architecture isn't the buildings you design. It's the life you construct with someone who knows you without needing to see you. Who finds you in the dark. Who chooses you. Every single day. 4 years after they met, Layla stands in front of a room full of architecture students at McGill. Guest lecture on accessible design philosophy. Architecture, she tells them, is about creating spaces where everyone belongs, where difference isn't disability, but simply another way of experiencing the world. She shows them the textile factory, the residential complex, the school. Shows them how buildings can hold memory in their structure, how design can serve all forms of perception. "My partner is face blind," she says. "He cannot recognize faces, not mine, not his mother's, not his own reflection. When we met, I thought that would be a limitation. But he taught me that recognition and knowledge are different things. He knows me better than anyone who's ever looked at my face." A student raises her hand. "How?" "Because he pays attention, not just to what I look like, but to who I am. How I move through space, how I breathe, the rhythm of my existence." She smiles. "That's what good architecture does too. It pays attention to how people actually exist in space, not just how we think they should." After the lecture, walking home through Montreal streets, she calls Étienne. "How'd it go?" "Good. I told them about you." "Should I be embarrassed?" "You should be proud. You changed how I see everything. Buildings, design, love." She pauses at a crosswalk. "I'm bringing dinner. Lebanese from our place." "Perfect. I'll be listening for your footsteps." "You always are." She hangs up, and something in her chest feels complete. Not healed. The explosion will always be part of her. A scar she carries. But whole enough to keep building. That night, eating dinner on their balcony, Étienne reaches across the table and takes her hand. "I need to tell you something." Her stomach tightens. "Okay." 4 years ago, when my mother told me about the contract marriage, I said no. I'd tried it before. It never worked. I was tired of being someone's immigration ticket, tired of watching people realize they couldn't handle my condition. "What changed your mind?" She showed me your application video. You were standing in the ruins of your studio in Beirut and you said... He stops, remembers. You said, "I'm not running away from home. I'm running toward survival. And I'll build something beautiful from these ruins, because that's what architects do." Layla doesn't remember saying that. Doesn't remember much about that video except the grief. I thought, here's someone who understands that broken doesn't mean finished. Someone who knows how to build from rubble. He squeezes her hand. "I didn't know I was choosing you. but I was, even then. I didn't know I was choosing you either. I thought I was choosing survival. Maybe they're the same thing. Maybe they are. They sit in comfortable silence, the city alive around them, and Layla realizes this is what the contract promised, but couldn't. Guarantee partnership. Not just legal or professional, but the kind that exists in shared silence and knowing glances he can't see but feels anyway. 5 years after Beirut exploded, Layla and Étienne returned to Lebanon together. The city has rebuilt itself the way cities do. Scarred but standing, broken but beautiful. Layla takes Étienne to her father's bookshop, reopened in a new location. To the port where memorials stand. To the neighborhoods that survived. Her father embraces them both. "You saved us," he says to Layla. Then to Étienne, "You saved her." "We saved each other," Étienne corrects quietly. That night, on a Beirut rooftop, jasmine heavy in the air, they dance. No music. Just the sound of the city and each other's breathing. "Thank you for bringing me here," Étienne says. "Thank you for making me brave enough to come back." He kisses her, and it tastes like 5 years of choosing each other. Like every fight and reconciliation. Like every building they designed together. Like coming home, no matter where in the world they're standing. "I found you," he murmurs against her lips. "In a city of millions, in a world of faces, I found you by sound, alone. And I found you, the man who couldn't see me but knew me anyway." They dance until dawn. Two people who married for survival and stayed for love. Who proved every single day that recognition has nothing to do with sight and everything to do with attention. That home isn't a place you're born. It's a person whose heartbeat you'd recognize anywhere. A partnership built on difference becoming strength. A love that exists in the space between one breath and the next. The architect and the face-blind man. The refugee and the different. The contract and the choice. Two people who learned that love isn't about recognition, it's about knowing. And they know each other perfectly, in every way that matters. Years later, someone will ask Layla, "Does it bother you that he can't recognize your face?" And she'll answer, "He can't recognize my face, but he knows when I'm about to cry before the tears come. He knows when I'm pretending to be fine. He knows the difference between my real laugh and my polite laugh. He finds me in crowded rooms by listening for my breathing. He's known me from the beginning, even when he was looking at a stranger." She'll pause, smile. Anyone can remember a face, but to know someone by the architecture of their existence, by the sound of their soul, that's love. Real love. The kind that doesn't depend on sight or memory or any of the usual markers. That's what we built. From a contract, from desperation, from two people who needed each other for all the wrong reasons and stayed for all the right ones. And that will be true, because in a world obsessed with recognition, they proved that being known is more profound, that attention is more valuable than memory, that you don't need to see someone to truly know them. You just need to listen, to feel, to choose them every single day. That's the architecture that matters. That's the design that changes everything. That's love.